I'm Jeff Cornwall, and this is the Entrepreneurial Mind. Today our guest is Ryan Pruitt. We'll be back to talk with him after this. Welcome, Ryan.
Thank you.
So you are one of the people behind Frothy Monkey, which is a thriving coffee business here in the greater Nashville area. And full disclosure, I'm a regular. So
thank you very much.
It's easy to do. It's a great spot. The Franklin one is the one that I frequent quite often in the morning. So it's a good spot. So you guys have had a lot of growth. I mean, you basically bought the original Frothy over on 12 South.
That's correct. The original location, about 1,600 square foot. That was kind of your basic coffee, pastry, 40 seats coffee house.
Now, had you ever owned a business before that, or
no?
A little scary to be buying something? Yeah.
Fun, scary.
Fun, scary. Exactly. Exactly. And when you bought it, did you envision doing more, or is this kind of, let's see what we can do, or kind of what was your vision with all of this?
Yeah, I worked for the concept prior to buying it, which is such a nice, way to get in instead of sign the piece of paper, grab the keys, and then try to figure it out from there. So the day that we acquired, I'd been in the brand for 5 years and running the brand for 3 years of it, so I knew what I was getting into. Yeah, kind of part of that story, the previous owner, after turning over management to me back in 2008, had the time availability to dream up of another concept.
Right.
So that concept was a restaurant called Burger Up, or is a restaurant called Burger Up, that's also in the 12 South market.
Which has lines out the door every night at dinner.
Yeah, since the day that it opened. So I helped her open up that restaurant, and its immediate success opened up the opportunity to acquire the Frothy brand and that location. She did not plan on doing duplicates or any more, or really expanding Frothy Monkey outside of what it was then.
Right.
And it was working well enough then. It was kind of at that 5-year point, or I guess when we started talking about me buying it, it was about at the 6-year point, and it was established. So yeah, we bought it with the intention of doing more.
Right. So talk about that sort of that next step. So when you opened the second one, what were some of the unexpected challenges and surprises you have when you go from 1 to 2? It's like having a second kid. You think it's well, just twice as difficult.
It's known as but it's more than that.
Yeah, it's difficult squared instead of
exactly.
Times 2.
And I've been told that. I've been told, moving from one location to 2 is the biggest. 2 to 20 is easier than 1 to 2 for most people.
Right.
And so there was a lot of paranoia to open up the second one.
Right.
Which I think was part of the success.
And Franklin was your second one.
Franklin was the second one.
Which was a big location.
It's twice the size of 12 South. It's 2 stories, so you got a staircase to deal with, and we were expanding the brand into beer, wine, and dinner.
Right.
But the thing about 12 South was it was just so cool and felt so great. Right. Which you can't pick out paint colors or lay out tables or do anything to duplicate cool and to duplicate cool. Right. So that was a very scary, do we ruin the coolness by doing a second, or is it going to feel like the old one, or is it going to take on its own cool identity?
Yeah. And it really has its own vibe.
It has its own identity. Yeah. It's equally as cool. We talk a lot about being a neighborhood concept, and it's a great fit for that neighborhood of downtown Franklin.
Right, right. And so at what point did you say, okay, let's think about a third one then?
I think it was lack of thinking and just going more than stop and think about doing.
So this is easy. I got 2 of them going.
Yeah, what's the worst that could happen? No, actually the Grimey's location, which is our kiosk, opened a month after we opened Franklin, which was...
Oh, dude, you're crazy.
Thank you. Which was just delays in construction in Franklin. Okay. And just the timing of it. So they opened within a month apart.
You had no sleep and long hours.
But I was young and energetic and fresh and green. And So
this is what happens when you grow too fast, by the way. So be careful.
Okay, noted. Noted. But actually, our third large location, which is our fourth location, is in downtown Nashville, in the downtown core, and we actually lost a lease in downtown Nashville prior to signing the Franklin lease. So it was we were within 24 hours of downtown Nashville being our second location. And when we lost that lease, I knew that building was available, made the phone call that day. Is it available? Yes, it is, and that started the process. But we'd already done a lot of legwork downtown. So it's just kind of how everything laid out. It happened pretty quickly.
Now, what's interesting is that each of those locations has a really different demographic to it.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about 12 South and also kind of East Nashville, where you are now with your bakery, a little more kind of a hipster kind of an area. You get on to Franklin, it's a little more family kind of oriented.
Mm-hmm.
Downtown Nashville is going to be more people coming to work and going out to
You get the
meetings.
workforce and you have the tourism.
So how have you kind of managed sort of dealing with so many different demographics? What's the commonness, have you found? Or is there one?
I guess the common thing that's allowed us to succeed in the different neighborhoods has been having great managers at each location and giving them, we have a lot of flexibility in our brand, which is nice to adapt to the neighborhood. Our downtown Nashville location is the only one that serves cocktails. We don't need cocktails in downtown Franklin or 12 South. We probably won't add it.
Right.
But when you have, tourism, for one, they want that and they're willing to spend the money, and that's what they're there for, is to go out and spend and wine and dine and drink. And then you also have the workforce of the loosen the tie, go have scotch at the end of the workday.
Right.
People built in and want a nice, comfortable atmosphere to do it in. So we've really been fortunate to have great managers that run the locations and have the flexibility to adapt.
And so they've really kind of helped establish each with its own brand identity.
Exactly.
Now, we talked a little bit before we came on the air about the challenges of growth with this kind of a business model, and there seems to be this point somewhere around 5 locations where you're chasing profitability again until you get to sometimes 10 or 15 or 20, because you start to have to scale up overhead and things like that.
Sure.
What are you thinking about in terms of growth, and how do you address those kind of challenges?
Yeah, I think, looking, the growth of the city that we're in makes it a little bit easier now, because we do have a lot more growth in Nashville.
Right.
Even outside of opening, Nashville can maybe hold one more frothy monkey, in my opinion, today, in a traditional standpoint. So, but real estate's been difficult in the last year because it's been the hottest city in the country.
Right.
So we would be into maybe doing another location here in town, which, again, you can put a 20-mile blanket over all of our locations, makes it a lot easier.
Right. And that gets you to that magic 5.
Gets you the magic 5. But also with our model, we've been able to vertically integrate coffee roasting and bakery into our model, using the internal volume to afford the bread oven and the coffee roaster.
Right.
And then the opportunity for wholesale of those, and which is a completely separate business, two separate businesses that we're currently getting into now.
Coffee.
Bakery and coffee.
Right.
Completely separate from running retail cafes.
Right.
That is our current growth for now, which just gets us deeper into our own market. And then from there, looking at other markets, the bakery piece is kind of, it's new. It's since May that we've had our own bakery, and that's going to be one of the deciding factors. If we go to another market, do we have to lead with a bakery? We can't deliver baked goods from Nashville daily to a different market, or do we build that into one of the first property in a new market? And so we still have some learning. And
there's a certain degree of overhead you have to start investing to support that size of an infrastructure. It just seems that there's just, but it gets busy.
And the way that we've structured what we're doing is a lot of our key players have partnered in. So we have a partnership. Our chef is a partner in the company. Our coffee roaster is a partner in the company.
Smart.
Our creative and branding director is a partner in the company. They all work full-time in the company as well. They've bought themselves jobs.
Right.
Most of them have taken chances, I mean, the chef that we have can cook for any restaurant in Nashville.
Oh my gosh,
I'm sure, you know, his buddies are elbowing, oh, you're just a coffee house cook. What do you mean you're a chef? But he's taking a chance.
They should come and eat his food.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, he's phenomenal.
He is.
But he's taken a risk to try something different as a chef. And he got a seat at the table, which meant that we could afford him prior to being, you know, prior to when we were ready. I mean, same with the creative and branding director. I mean,
it's
Jennifer
the right way
Sheets,
to grow
who's our
team.
partner. She's so talented. Our brand is strong. Our social media presence is strong, and I've had nothing to do with either one of those, which is great.
It's you know, it's scary to bring people on that way, but the cohesiveness that you're going to have and the stability that you're going to have. And I mean, one of the challenges a lot of establishments, like, and you know this better than I do, is, you know, you lose a chef or you lose somebody like that's critical, and it can take you sometimes a year or two to recover, to get the right kind of person back in, and to have all these people in this together with you just ensures much greater stability over time, which is good.
To have the skill sets that we have, and then an alignment of the partnership that we're in it to grow.
It sounds like you may be exploring more growing in this market through these locations, and then maybe consider something else down the road. And franchising doesn't make sense to me with you guys, because even right now you have almost 4 different concepts. You know, it's all a brand, and there's that commonality, but you know, each one seems to have its own kind of a vibe when you get in there.
And there's definitely been an evolution of the brand, and you can see them with the locations in order. The downtown Nashville one is our more grown-up frothy monkey, and so you can see the evolution of the brand.
But it fits downtown. I mean, it perfectly fits downtown, but I still feel like I'm at a frothy, which is.
And that's our whole thing behind being a neighborhood concept, because we can continue to develop that in whatever neighborhood we're in, and it still is cohesive with the brand.
Well, I am so delighted to have you here today, and I've been looking forward to meeting you and talking about this, and I'd love to have you back at some point and kind of see the evolution of all this.
Sounds great. Pleasure to meet you.
Thank you.
All right.